Welcome to part 4 of our 2023 Baltic cruise on Sky Princess. In this episode we visit Warnemunde and Aarhus. We would be grateful if you would like and subscribe. We arrived in Warnemunde while we were sleeping, and we had already docked when we had our breakfast on the balcony. We'd already decided that we didn't want to do the 2 hours 45 minutes each way train journey to Berlin, and walked into Warnemunde, which was very close to the ferry terminal. On the way we came across these sand sculptures, which seemed to be part of an annual exhibition. A little further on, the World was just arriving. The World is a private residential cruise ship with large apartments that can be purchased. The ship has 165 apartments. Average occupancy is 150 to 200 residents and guests. You can see how close the World was to Sky Princess. To get to the town we had to walk round the railway terminus. This is where trains leave for Berlin. Crossing the bridge from the station, we had a pleasant walk alongside the harbour, stopping in a few shops along the way. We soon had our first sight of Warnemunde's 2 landmarks, the lighthouse and a building known as the Teapot. The Teapot is right beside the beach. We sat outside the Teapot's cafe, ate pastries, and watched the sparrows. After a brief stop by the lighthouse, we returned to the ship by a different route. we came across this chap along the way. After a rest in our cabin, we headed for good spirits at sea.
One more ingredient before we shake up, we are going to use some salt. So salt is going to cut bitterness of our coffee and really push out those amazing flavours of our cocoa cafe.
Here are some recipes. We spent the rest of the evening in Princess Live. We had breakfast in our cabin as the ship was docking at around 8 o'clock. We decided to walk into the town and so saw these statues, which we would have missed if we had taken the shuttle. It wasn't long before we arrived at Aarhus Cathedral. In the cathedral square, a theatre was performing the play King Lear. This guide was keen to tell me all about Aarhus. The inside of the cathedral is magnificent. As we were leaving, I spotted this sign. Temporarily forgetting that I'm not as fit as I once was, not that I ever was fit, I decided to give it a go. Tom the cruise monkey kept Jill company in the cathedral. Meanwhile, I regretted my decision before I reached the top, but didn't fancy trying to turn round on the spiral stone staircase, so I persisted. was worth the climb, but the descent was even more difficult as the steps weren't deep enough for more than half of my foot. This is the window that the views were taken from. Somewhat traumatised by my ill-advised trip up the tower, I was in need of coffee and cake. Refreshed, we made our way back to the ship. Back on board, we had a rest in our cabin before grabbing something to eat in the buffet and heading on deck for the sail away. A few minutes after leaving, we had to return to Aarhus as a crew member was ill, but we were soon underway again.
Let's run! Touching hands, please make sure you sanitize after. Reach out. Are you ready? Here we go. Sweet good times never seem so good.
Thanks for watching. We'd be very grateful if you liked and subscribed.